Now, okay. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start out with Ray Hagan's statement that he always makes. And again, I don't know if anybody saw it. It's another week to kind of see what he's talking about. He's reviewing stuff and going in detail. It's been good. He's in his office where he does stuff now. Of course, he's not in the church anymore. And it's very, 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 very good stuff, good history. But from Dr. Ray Hagan, we say the space inside this circle represents my realm of knowledge. All that I think I know about whatever I think I know is depicted right here within this circle. I must keep in mind that there is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness. Dr. Ray Hagan, you know the deal, everybody. All of us, life,
Uncle
prosperity, and
Johnson
good
there.
health, always, always, Uja Seneb, Uja Seneb, always. Dua Netaru, thanks to our ancestors and the powers that be. Grateful, Banuk, I am. We are life, we are prosperity, and we are health. Banuk, I am, which we're going to say a little bit later. We are students, metaphysical students. I know I am. Every day I'm reminded that I am. It encompasses everything that exists, as well as the nature of existence itself, just being here. It says whether the world is real or merely just an illusion, and it is a fundamental view of the world around us. It has a basis and a system tied to it, but we touch on it all the time. And it will come to you in bits and pieces, but once you get it, it's not complicated at all. Metaphysics. We study vibration, and we study the fact that thought vibrations refer to the idea that thought and emotions have frequencies similar to sound waves, and that they can influence our lives and the people and the world around us, the people and the world around us. So positive thoughts are believed to resonate at higher frequencies, while negative thoughts, of course, resonate at lower frequencies. And they both resonate at the highest frequencies known, thought. So this concept is often linked to the law of attraction, which suggests that like-minded frequencies attract like-minded experiences. It is the law. It is a law, by the way, and it's written, as you can see, it says that my cursor's not moving, but we know what you think you feel because you thought it, you vibrated it on a mental basis. And if you feel it, you're going to vibrate it in the ionosphere, in the atmosphere. It's going to vibrate around you too. And what you vibrate, you attract. Because you vibrated it, you're going to sync with those vibrations, and those vibrations are going to sync with you, and you're going to have some kind of relationship with that vibration. So what you feel, you will vibrate. And anything you feel, you vibrate, you will attract. We've been working with this word, G-O-D, God. We've been trying to get a better understanding of what it is. And it's interesting because the more you learn about it, the more you understand that it is all there is. It's the word that we use. It's the word that we grew up with. It's the three-letter word that we're all familiar with. However, most people, even though they say it, don't understand it. For our purposes right now, we say that God is, and then three dots, which is an incomplete sentence, which means anything you use to complete this sentence is just another attribute of this thing. We call it God. We're using that word, but the thing you can't define. And the mere fact that this thing you can't define operates in a certain way, we find out that we operate exactly the same way. So if God is, I am. I think in the Bible, it's that statement is, I am that I am. And that's the term that they use. So when you're talking about yourself, you say the same thing, I am. And it is a phrase indicating self-existence made in the image, the same likeness of this letter, this three-letter word that we try so hard to understand. It is often followed by an adjective or verb or description to define a person's identity or state or action. And it can be used as a powerful personal affirmation to build self-esteem and change negative thought patterns. And I always say, you're in control. And while it can be used to change powerful personal affirmations from negative to positive, it can go the other way because you are in control. More than you know, you are in control. And so we combine the two, and we take a couple minutes, and I could say we're talking a lot about ancestors and God and everything else, but take a minute to be personal and to be understand that you are in control of you, and you get to say what you want to say about you in the most positive form that you want to say it in. And so what we do is we inhale, I am, knowing that the letters that come after, or the words or the thoughts that come after the I am, is power that you're giving it. And so we inhale that. We inhale it, we hold it in, and physically we're holding air that we're going to take everything out of and then get rid of it in the form of carbon dioxide. And then when we give that carbon dioxide back, the earth is going to use it to replenish it so that we can inhale it again. And that's the cycle of life, if you will. So if you will, let's just inhale. Inhale the I am. Close your eyes and imagine what you want the I am to be, because you're in control. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. It's up to you. Hold that thought, hold that vibration, pull everything out of the physical air, let it go. Exhale. Inhale again. I am in control. Believe it. Believe it. Hold it there. Take everything out of that physical air and then let it go. Exhale. Boy, it's feeling pretty good. Let's do it again. Inhale, nice and deep. Hold it, not like you're holding your breath. You're holding that air so that you take everything out of it. Because when you let it go, it's going to have stuff you don't need and you don't want right now. Let it go. Exhale. Exhale till you feel it in your gut. It's all gone. And now just breathe. Open your eyes, relax, just breathe. Just breathe. Something I've always been saying lately is that God exists between the inhale and the exhale. It's a split second. We can't even calculate it. We do it every day. We do it all the time. We do it all day long and not understand how close we are to this thing we can't define, because it's in the middle of every exhale and every inhale. Let me see. It's an interesting thing. I wanted to today. Let me do this. I think I can do this. I can't, not without doing that first, and then do this. And I wanted to pull something up, because I'll come back to this in a minute, because this is something we want to talk about. Let me see if I can. I think it's okay. I think it'll, yeah, there you go. We've been doing our ancestor study, and there's 4 questions there. We can kind of talk about them today, but um, let's just look at how we got here a little bit and come back to it. What value does it have, and do you have to be related to them, and can you communicate with them, and do we or will we in the future start setting aside the time to acknowledge who these things are? But let's go back. I wanted to, because this was interesting. I found this in the Bible, and Leviticus 19:31 in the King James Version. It reads, if anybody wants to read that, we can talk about it. verse 31, chapter 19 of Leviticus.
I'll read it.
Okay. Hey, Chrissy, how's it going?
Good,
Good,
good. How's
good.
everybody doing?
All right, good.
Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after withers, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God.
That's an interesting statement because um, regard not them that have familiar spirits. Aren't we talking our ancestors? Because spirits are vibrations, and vibration is energy. And you cannot what? Destroy or create energy. It's always there. And so when we look at stuff like ice, when it goes from ice to water to gas, we haven't destroyed anything. All you've done is change the form. And so when we talk about ancestors, they may not be physically here, they've changed forms. But the energy that they had, just like the energy in the ice and the water and the steam, all have energy that acts differently, but it does what it's supposed to do. Ancestors do the same thing. And so here we are in the Bible saying, don't even regard them. Don't seek after them. Don't even have familiar spirits, don't even regard them. And that's a little bit interesting because, again, we're saying one thing, and people who believe, quote, in the Bible said it and I believe it. So from this verse alone, a lot of people will say, well, I don't give no credit to ancestors. People who've been here. And I think to take that even a little bit farther, I wanted to pull this up because I thought this was interesting. Um, to begin with, I pulled up whether there was any DNA from Jesus, and the answer was no. I just didn't print it out. They don't have any records, cannot make any records, never have been able to find any records, but we know why. We know why. As metaphysical students, we know why. But in the book, in Matthew, the book, Bible, Matthew, and this is the King James Version again. We don't have to read this, but if you look at all the begots and the begats, it says the book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob. Jacob begot Judas and his brethren, and Judas begot Phares and Jerah and Thamar, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And I think down bottom here, I think I can pull that up. When you get way down to the bottom, aha, there you go. And then Joseph, the husband of Mary, whom was born Jesus, who was called Christ. So even this guy, and I got to say, when we look at this, how many of these people you think really existed?
Um,
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely, positively none. And the point that I'm making is this. While the Bible said what it said in the last thing about begots and who the ancestor should be and whether it should deal with the spirit, there's an oxymoron here to me that tells you to do this with the person known as Jesus. That's a contradiction in the book. Again, the Bible said it, I believe it. So the question is, and I've said this before, if somebody says they believe everything in the Bible, you might want to kind of not be too close with somebody like that because they can't be too stable, because the book can't be stable. And this is a prime example, again. Not me. I didn't say it. We got it directly out of the book. The book is saying it. And again, I don't have the slide, but there's no DNA of this guy even existing. So all these people, Solomon and Ruth and Obed and Jesse and Solomon and Asa, Jotham, all these people, names, just names. And so if you're not woke, I got to use that word right now, you could go through all of these and think that you might be a generation of this person and miss out on something. And I said that to say that our our ancestors, who was my grandmother, my mother too, but my grandmother was big in the church. And while we gave the energy that we would have should have gotten from ancestors with communication with them, we gave it to this stuff that was given to us, not even real. A lot of energy went up into the air. And I don't know if that's why we're where we are. I don't know. It's something to think about. But now that we know some things, and now that we gotta be honest and be truthful, because we studied the difference between something being true, True, and being truth, Truth, because something that's true today does not necessarily have to be true tomorrow. And the example I always use, there was a time when the horse and buggy was the fastest way to get around on land. It was true, except it's not true now. It's not truth. Truth doesn't change. And so, as metaphysical students, we tend to want to study truth, rather than something just being true. And so, from that, I think I pulled this up. We did them before, but I want to pull them up, and I keep forgetting.
Well, I wanted to mention too
Go ahead.
about that particular lineage um geon genealogy for Jesus, this particular one, Matthew. The problem comes all the way to the bottom when it says Joseph. I thought I thought Mary had a immaculate conception.
Yeah, another
So
contradiction
so it's not just a contradiction, it's just it's more evidence of a fable.
of a
You
faith.
understand what I'm saying? It's more evidence of not taking it literal because it can't be both if she had an immaculate conception and God is the pappy,
Yeah,
then Joseph, we shouldn't even, you don't need to even go through this genealogy,
yeah,
this
he shouldn't have.
generational genealogy.
Right. Yeah, because there would have been no genealogy.
Right. Which
It's
is
immaculate.
more strikes against Jesus being the Messiah.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. But again, the difference in one verb, one section, I don't know. I guess you were here when I did that. I don't know when you got on, but this was the one that I equated it against, because in the King James Version of the Bible, Leviticus, it was saying to regard not them that have familiar spirits. That energy that makes an ancestor is a spirit. So neither seek after withers to be defiled by them, because I am the Lord your God. In other words, don't even regard them. But then you give us this, and like you say, there's an error in the way that's even written if you read the book.
Right, right. It actually, yeah. And that Leviticus, Deuteronomy, those are like law books.
Yes.
So a lot of that, especially that particular one, they was trying to stop them from honoring, the other gods in certain
Sure.
ways, like, try to cut all that out. Give more credence to going into what they would call pagan areas and taking it over with impunity. You know what I'm saying? Without no problem. Because if they don't have, God in their system, Jesus in their system, and at that time, Leviticus, Jesus wasn't nowhere around, by the way. It would have been God, Yahweh. Um, who all is not worshiping Yahweh. Well, we could seize them, we could capture them, we could take over their land, we could do what we will with their people, we could slaughter their men, we could rape their women, we could kill the babies. When we talk about Leviticus, matter of fact, there's passages on that literally is it Leviticus? Yeah. That tells them, to annihilate everybody because they don't have God in their system. Yahweh. Is it Leviticus? I may be I'm gonna check on that to
But
make sure it's
yeah,
Leviticus. But you get what I'm saying,
of
yeah.
course, of course. And again, we have to understand we're talking, and I use synonymously the word spirit and energy, because energy cannot be created, or I said that before, or destroyed. So the energy that even though something transforms, is in a different format, is of use. And so the Bible is saying, and then of course, if you make the thing up, I mean, I don't know if you call it fake energy or what, but it does create something. I mean, what did Jesus create in the spirit of all the people who believed in him?
That's Deuteronomy. I'm sorry. Yeah, yep, that's fine.
When you look at the whole of the story. And that's what we're
Oh,
doing. We're being not optimistic, but being truthful about what we read.
but also too, that, and I'm with you. I'm with what you're saying. I totally agree with you. But even to go even deeper with that, it's the non-understanding of what we're reading and what we're a part of. Even like again, when we talk about Leviticus, even that passage, that's for the Levitical priesthood time. That don't have nothing to do with us in America. You see what I'm saying? Again, this Bible started off to be for a collection or compiled knowledge for and codings, and it was all kind of codes and wordplay and stuff and poetry stuff, was for a small set of people at a certain period of time.
Yeah,
We talking about some nomads, to be
right,
honest with you, sheep herders,
right.
people,
Who made up things
so
as they
that
came up.
literally made up things as they
That's
went along.
that's I have a great
And
book, by the way. I'm thinking about it before we get too far. I don't want to. I want to cut you off just long enough to say it. It's called How to Read the Bible. I didn't make a picture of it. Maybe I'll make a note to make a picture of it and send it to you. But even if you read it that way, you'll still get crossed. In other words, you'll understand the chronology that Nasu's talking about now. But when you read it, you still got to be careful of saying, "The Bible said it, I believe it," because it's crossing you up. It'll cross you. I'll get a picture of it and send it out. Great book.
because probably the author of that book is probably Christian. You see what I'm saying? But that's the thing though. You got to be, it's just like this. It's just like this. When you read something about Africa and 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 even if you just let's just say Egypt. And you read Egypt and they name stuff about Egypt and they say Horus and Isis and uh stuff like that, and not calling it by their original names and Kemet and stuff like that, then you kind of know what that author, where he comes from, or they come from, or where they're building their knowledge from. They're probably people who don't study Kemet
Right.
but study Egypt.
Or didn't understand what they did study or
It
tried
just
to.
didn't take, well, it just stopped at a time period when it started blackening their eye.
Right.
Because that's really what's going on. When we was, looking at TV and TV was coming up and they showed the Yul Bryners and all them and all the Egyptian type kind of movies. What it is, and Cleopatra, what it is they stopped at a time period where the throne was usurped by Europeans, Europeans, Wazungus. Um, but if anybody is being genuine with their research, will actually take you further back, and you will see where it come from. And in the words of John Henry Clark, the further you go back, the more black in your eye will get.
Exactly.
So that's the thing with that.
I was reading somewhere and they were talking about the African history that's in the Pope, where the Pope is. And a lot of it is recognizing the fact that it was African, but you're right, it started to do it when it was Cleopatra type thing. And it was the newer, if you will, um, parts of history and when there were changes, quote, in Kemet. So yeah, I mean, a lot comes in my mind when we talk about this because I know that the effort is on to change the books. And if you look at something like what we're looking at on the screen, Um, you could insert some real people in there at some point in time, and you could get somebody young who's not really checking stuff and say, well, it is true. Because they can do that now. You can put stuff in there and make it true, even though it's not. Because we studied this, once you put something in your subconscious mind, right or wrong, if it's in there and you believe it's right, it becomes law to you. And this is where a lot of people are in their non-study is what it is, and the stuff that we're told. Because if you only read the Bible, your history is going to be a little bit thwarted, is the word I'm going to use. But if it's in your subconscious, it's a part of you, and to you, it is law until it is changed. And you're the only one that can give it lesser weight in your subconscious mind. And as a metaphysical student, that's what we have to do. It's okay not to believe something if you don't have the answer and you don't know what it is and you're not sure enough to say, I take this side. It's okay not to take a side. It just means that what you've done is you still now have work to do, due diligence tied to whatever that is, till you get to that point. Because you have to convince you. And there are people who, and I did it when I was young growing up, read this book, read the Bible, and when I read it, it became me. Revelations was a big thing when the 13th chapter, never forget it, was a big chapter in the church that I grew up in. And it talked about how there was a difference between the papacy and the people who worshiped on Saturdays, the seventh day. And I remember distinctly looking and understanding it, even when I looked at the calendar, even today. Back then, Saturday was day 7. And the church, the other church never said we changed the Sabbath. We just changed the day of worship. So, you have to do that due diligence and you have to go through it. And if somebody defines the Bible by using the Bible, you have to back off. How could you get the right answer if you define something in the Bible with the definition in the Bible? And this has been going on for ages, ages and ages, ages. But this is why we study. I wanted to, anybody here, anybody? I keep, I'm going to put them up, and eventually it's going to come to me where I got it from. I read stuff, and if I pull up something that I totally agree with, I'll pull it up. And I did not put the name with this, but I'll read this because I read it before, and I'll read it again. It says, I love the fact that the ancestors already figured out and included many of the laws of modern science before Europeans even discovered the importance of bathing properly. It says the law of conservation of energy basically explains our relationship with the ancestors. If energy cannot be created or destroyed, our ancestors don't cease to exist. Their energy is merely transformed, and that's what we connect to. Energy. And the other one, let me just pull it up and we can get into discussion. The other one was this. If you want to locate your most eminent connection with the multidimensional spirit world, tune within, inside of you. Consciously connect with your ancestral DNA, and everything else will be revealed through you. According to one of my teachers, Baba, and I don't want to mess that up, a blessed memory, our ancestors are literally inside of us. They eat what we eat, they drink what we drink, go where we go, and do what we do. This is an awesome way of comprehending who we are, where we are. We are living, organic, ancestral shrines. At the same time, creating and working within dedicated physical spaces enhances our focus and appreciation for the connection with those ancestors who have lived, keyword, exemplary lives before us. It also can be a place or a space of healing. You're never alone. And I agree with both of those statements. So let's go back and let's do this. We got a little bit of time. I brought this up and let's talk about it. Where are you with your ancestor study? What are you thinking about ancestors? What value do they have to you? Anybody?
I honor my ancestors every day, maybe two, three times a day, literally. Because just simply without them I wouldn't be here. I mean, that's just a simple way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Um, for those that don't have a connection with the ancestors, it's going to be because they're stuck in the Abrahamic um doctrine type kind of trance. Because it actually, I mean, don't get me wrong, the Bible does say stuff like honor your mother and your father, and they're not just talking about like your living mother and father. They aren't talking about those before you,
Right.
so that your days could be so they they do speak about, and there's other passages on that if it come to me, but um what happened is the way how cultures in Africa, many cultures in Africa, the way how they venerate their ancestors is weird to others. Like for example, when we think about voodoo, what do you think about? Serpent and the rainbow? Something crazy like that? We think about zombies walking around, craziness like that.
You do.
When literally the 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 definition, if you will, if you want to give it a definition of voodoo or voodoo, literally means the essence of God. Whoa, wait a minute. Why they never told us that on Serpent and the Rainbow? They were just making people zombies and stuff.
Mm,
You
yeah.
see, so we got to look at it. The way how we venerate it, we got to remember, when when the Europeans was even just trying to get it together, they didn't know how to wash. They didn't know how to bury
Yeah.
they
It did.
they
They didn't know
dead.
how to eat
They
properly.
actually ate. They actually ate
True.
Annie if they got hungry.
Yeah.
Um, they didn't know. They didn't know how to live civilized. They they kind of showing they ancestral being right now, to be honest with you, in 2026, very uncivilized. But that's why we say we brought civilization to them, because when they was literally putting Anna or anybody in the corner, and then after a while they eat them after a while because they got hungry, and they beating their women across the head and dragging them into the caves and stuff and doing whatever, and eating lice off of each other. We literally was writing and reading and playing music
Right.
and having temples and we don't want to say prayer, but it in a form it was prayer. And we was doing all kind of rituals and different stuff, everything. We had school going on, university, so it's it's a lot with it, because when they came across that kind of excellence, two things happened. It ultimately scared them because they didn't know what they was looking at. Remember, they beat they women across the head and drag them into the cave. And here they come into a place where the woman might be calling the shots. So it was a culture shock for them. That's what I'm looking. The next thing that happened, that it went to they Neanderthal type brain. I'm trying to be real nice about them. The next thing happened, they came to get to the point of not what can we learn from these people, but how can we make this ours? And not only make it ours, but we have to make it to the point where our people could resonate with it. So they just took everything they possibly seen, stole it. Um, you know, books, destroyed temples, this and that, everything. And they took it, and years later, now we're in 2026, and everything that we think we see is theirs actually comes from somewhere else. But that was the trick. That was, that was it. So
Yeah.
the and I end with this. The weapon towards that is study. It is due diligence. It is collecting the books. It is correcting people when they say certain things. So I take your words, Elder. That's why we study. Because we arming ourselves. We arming ourselves from ignorance. Ignorance of have you going over a cliff.
Yeah. The word energy it's an interesting way to relate things because energy is a feeling. You get a feeling for something, whether it's fear or happiness. That's an energy, believe it or not. These are all energies that you have. And this next question, do they have to be directly related to you to study? Um, to connect to them is what I should have said there. But if you study and you're impressed, or if you get that feeling, of course, is energy, then you can benefit from that. Just like you benefit from a good, I don't know, if you're mathematically oriented, a good math problem where you got the answer that allows you to put something together because you did the math on it. That's energy. And you get to connect to that and you have that ability because you can do that. That energy is always out there. It's always out there. And so when we talk about getting what we're supposed to get from it, we got to be careful. And I'm back to the original story. For years and years and years, we were getting energy from something that was just wasn't was even made up. But because it's energy, because that was energy, we were getting something that was definitely not in favor of us as people. And that movie Contradiction comes to mind right away. I keep bringing it up. If you get a chance to see it, look at it. But it shows you that um, we can benefit from it. And you don't have to be directly related to the people to study him. Sheikh Dr. Diop. I don't have to know him to understand what he's done that would highlight me in my thinking, or Dr. John Henry Clark or Dr. Ben or any of those people. And so we study to collect that energy. Because once you collect that energy is in you. We say it every week. What you think, what you feel, you vibrate, it, you attract it. And so you get out of that what you're supposed to get because you and I may not get exactly the same thing. It may be good, but it may not, it's not going to be exactly the same thing. Why? Because we're not exactly the same. No two grains of sand on the beach are. So when we're dealing with ancestors and you're dealing with it, you want to know when we laugh when we say it, but you don't want to vibrate your drunk Uncle Willie when something's going on is going to drive you to go get a drink because the energy that you get from that relationship with him is not of value to you now. But the energy is there, the ancestry is there, and we do need to study as much as you can because the closeness is there. And it's like radio stations that the radio station could be around halfway around the world. And what happens is if you pull that frequency up, that is a vibration that does not have any idea of distance. You pull the station in and you listen to it because you vibrated it with whatever instrument you have and you're now attracted. It's exactly the same thing. Do you believe you can communicate with them? We just talked about that. It's energy. We're talking energy. And if you want to speak to them, that's fine. It's just you and them. I mean, I have no problem with that. That part of it. Anybody feel like yeah, we all do. You think how many of you talk to parents or you Rosie grandson, granddaughter, wife, husband? You basically because in when they were here, you knew how they probably would react to something. And so when you communicate based on that. Trust me, because the people who didn't know him like you did could not communicate that same vibration.
Yeah. You ever and this rhetorical, but you ever said, "Oh, my grandma said," and then you would this is what you would do. You would actually sound just like your grandma and say
Ah,
what she said.
ah, yeah.
What happens is this is what goes on with the ancestors. The ancestors, just like you say, they're energy. Energy don't it doesn't go away. This is people that's been here, they did things, they made a mark. Whatever their mark is, they made it. That's energy and a source that you can draw from. Now, the living has the ability to internalize things. This is where it's important. What you internalize, what you recognize, right, is what you energize. But what you internalize is what you become. So now, when you say, damn, I remember, because look, the person you talking to 9 times 10 didn't know your grandma. They wouldn't even know how your grandma would sound. But for some reason, it's almost like he was possessed to sound just like her, familiarity, and say the things that she said exactly verbatim. Because right then you had already internalized it. That's your grandma. But right then you was her. So when we talk about family, it's easy to get a connection. It's the same thing with Malcolm X.
I agree.
I I studied Malcolm X. I seen him. I'm way before Malcolm X. He passed away and everything. He did his thing. But I studied it. I looked at documentaries. I looked at his speeches. I read his autobiography. Um, I studied him to the point where I internalized him so that when, and it's in my bag of subconscious, so that when my conscious need to react, then somebody might say something about, boy, did you see what the media say? And I say, but listen, the medias are tools for the food. Then you know I've internalized something that Malcolm might have said that he's trying to relate to that person through me.
Right,
I allow that to happen. Because when you internalize, you allow things, just like you allow bad things to happen to you.
right,
You know, unbeknownst to you, nobody don't want nothing bad to happen to them. But if you continue to say, I don't want this and I don't want that and I don't want this, what happened is
exactly.
you actually bringing it to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it works. So when you internalize things, because we have the ability as the living to internalize things, that's where your power's at. And so now you could pull from any source. And for me, the way I work the ancestors, I might just call but everybody need to work out how they need to work it. I might just call my drunk Uncle Willie. I don't have a drunk Uncle Willie, I don't think, but I got some people I could call that's in that realm. I know what you're saying there. But I'm gonna call him when I need him. Not to drink, not to but Uncle Willie might have been somebody who didn't take any mess. And he just didn't know how to be calm or say it or whatever, but he didn't take nothing. If it was a foot, if it was something that at a foot, he calling on it right away. He calling you out. And so sometimes when somebody just out there being disingenuous, not showing their benevolence, I might need Uncle Willie to be in me and say, hey, 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 no, you lying. He's a liar. And that's what Uncle Willie would do. But that's me though. You know, you gotta work your things how it need to be worked.
No,
You
and
know.
everybody does that. And when I said that about calling on him when you're down and you feel like, okay, that's not the ancestor that you call on. But by the same token, if you remember Uncle Willie, and we're going to talk about this because remember, if it's in your subconscious, it's there. As old as we all are, some of us older than others, the stuff that's in there is in there. It's going to be there. It'll always be there. And so Uncle Willie may have been a drunk, but you may look at something and say, boy, even though he was whatever, whatever, he always had this smile on his face. And it could have been a drunk smile. But I'm saying to you, what you get out of it is for your benefit. The intent is to get the beneficial part of it, not to get the drink. Or you may say, well, he would drink, I'm not going to drink. So you did think of it. So his example of doing that, this is why I'm against the death penalty, because you don't know who somebody can help. You kill them, you put them away, they don't get a chance to do that. So, we have to understand that if you ever cross anything in your journey, not the destination, because that ain't gonna happen. In the journey, if it's in you, it's gonna stay in you. Anything in your subconscious, internalized is the term you use, it's there. What you do is over the journey period is give it different weights. Just like we're doing a study with the Bible now. Well, after a while, it was heavy duty when I was small. But as I grew up and got older, then the weight of it was not the same because I knew better. It's still there.
And now you can draw from it differently. That's what the next level is. That's what moving up in conscious is.
That's right.
And then when we say stuff like I meant to say that earlier. When we say stuff like, well, because I was about to say it, the term woke and this and that, I think we should continue to keep saying it. You know why? Because that makes them really aggravated.
Because they
And
know.
me personally, I try to do everything that aggravates them and get under their skin. I don't want them comfortable around me. Um, but woke is nothing but just your awareness of conscious. So who doesn't want that? It's just like DEI. That's what I'm saying. You look at things different. DEI. What it is, diversity. Who doesn't want diversity? Equity, what it is, equality?
Yeah.
No, it's diversity,
Um, what does it stand for?
equality. Ooh,
And
what is that?
inclusion.
And then Chris, who
Inclusion.
don't want to who don't want to be included? What's going on, sis? Peace. Who but just you get what I'm saying? Like who don't want to be but again, if we allow them to build the narrative and run the narrative and place it on us like it's a coat, like it's our wear, and we wear it every day, then we deserve everything we get.
That's right.
But if we do exactly what we're doing right now, even the small intimate group and those that listen to us on recorded, because I'm noticing people are listening, which is cool. Though we are doing our part to set aside the difference. And guess what? We are honoring our ancestors by doing that.
Yeah.
If we continue to follow along the lines, what is that saying for Oklahoma? Emmett Till. I mean, I can name so many different situations. What is that saying? We don't even have to go through all the cliches. So many. We'll be here all night. But what is that saying? What is that saying about my ancestors on my mama's side, who we know came over on a boat, and the mother of the two died on the passage here, and the sister and brother, the sister was 7, or they think, because they're 7, and the brother was about 5 or 4. What is that? If I go along with what they got and be a MAGA, we ain't saying be conservative or have a conservative thought or be a Republican or I'm not even. We saying what it is to be a MAGA, a black MAGA, or this or that. What is that saying for my ancestor? That went through everything for me to get here, and she went through a lot to get here. The sister is the one I'm part of.
Right. Okay.
Well, the brother I'm part of too. They don't really know what happened to him, but I'm the line. My line. I'm coming from her line, and what is that to say if I don't honor that ancestor? I'm not doing my part. If I don't know but it's a speech that Marcus Garvey said on one of his speeches. I can't think of the title right now, but there's a part of that where he say, "What am I gonna do?" You got to understand that I hear the ancestors all the time and they say, Marcus, you here, you got a chance to do something for your people, you didn't do it. Say, when it's my time to go, and that's how I feel. When it's my time and I earn my chance to transcend to the next, I earned that's listen to what I'm saying. I earned my chance to transcend. Then I don't need my ancestors looking at me and say, David, David, you mean to tell me you knew and you didn't?
Right.
I could care less about a pearly gates. I could care less about any of that because I don't have a connection to that. Oh, what is that?
Is everybody kind of feeling what we're saying here? Is it kind of making sense to everybody? Kind of? What you think? If it's not clear and if it doesn't make sense, which is really what I'm saying, let's talk about it. Let's put it on the table, and because we're all students, we're all looking at this, and we're all supposedly benefiting from us doing this. So,
Mr. Carl.
hmm?
Hello?
I'm here.
Oh,
Wendy,
okay.
how are you?
I'm doing fine.
All right.
I have a question. So, what's the difference between energy and spirits? Because it sounds like it's working the same.
It is. It most certainly is. Spirits don't die.
Hmm.
They don't die. Energy, you cannot create it or destroy it. I think this is part of, and we can do some more research on this. The the feeling for an afterlife and coming back. People say they're coming back. Well, again, is energy cycling. I mean, you don't want to come back as a cow. We heard stuff like that. I don't know enough to get into that. I mean, I haven't died, so I don't know. And if you die, you can't come back and tell nobody. But that idea is based on the fact that you cannot create or destroy energy. Energy, and you don't have to see it because we've said in our studies, you don't see the wind. You only see things blowing around. You don't see gravity. You only connect to the earth, which we use as a good example because you can abuse gravity and get hurt. Jump from a tall building and try it and see. But you can't see it because it's energy.
Yeah. Also, too, is deep. Peace, Sister Wendy. How you doing today?
All right.
Um, and it's deep. It's actually deep. When we talk about, and that's right, Dad. You are absolutely right. I agree with you. Um, but it's deep. When we think of spirit, we are thinking um in a religious way because that's how they kind of pushed it. But spirit itself is like an ancient. It derives from an ancient word. I always have a problem with this. Pneumia
What's the
and
word?
pneumia is Pneuma. I might do a session about this because listen, spirit is attached to breath.
Yes, it is.
Spirit is attached. Spirit is attached to air. Not to be discussing a derogatory or nothing like that. But when you pass gas, you just had the Holy Ghost. That's being, you just see your spirit. And then you also have spirits of like waters and drinks and stuff. But when we talk about the Greek word, ancient Greek word from the breath, I'm looking at my notes. Ancient Greek word for breath, and in religious context for spirit or soul. It has various technical meanings for medical writers and philosophers of classical antiquity. So, spirit was actually used in so many different ways throughout time. But when we hear the word spirit, we are thinking religious. And spirit, so my dad right. The way how we're trying to describe the ancestors is in the way that they saying about spirit. Um, so that's that right there. That's why it's such a connection to it
It's a feeling. It's a
because
feeling because
right,
you
right.
can
It's
move in
supposed to
the
be a feeling.
spirit of something. You can move in the spirit of something, and it can make you or drive you or direct you or enhance something that you do because in that spirit, you have whatever it takes from it to do what you need to do or aid you in doing what you need to do, which is why we were saying that's why that question's done. Do you want to take the time to sit down and acknowledge your ancestors in spirit? Because you move in that, because again, we're talking energy. Maybe we need to study energy and vibration closer, but because energy does that. You don't have to see it.
So it could be a good energy and a bad energy.
That is
That,
correct.
oh
Say
yes,
like say like
most definitely.
some people talk about witchcraft or something like that. Also, is that different?
Well, that's the thing. It could be used in so many. That's what I just read. It could be used in so many ways. It depends on what that person is talking about, right? Because look, just like with the question that you just said, it could be good, it could be bad. Well, that's energy. That's what we saying energy is. That's what I meant to say. Did I say S? I meant to say energy and spirit. That's the connection. That's what my dad was saying. But that's an energy. It could be a good energy. It could be a bad energy, right? Now this the thing, Sister Wendy. What's good to you may not be good to somebody else. So what you think is good could be actually really, really bad to somebody else, and then say that you don't have the spirit of the Lord because I can't think of the passage, but it say where the spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom. Now they're not necessarily talking about the freedom that we talking about, liberty and freedom and all. They're saying
Mhm.
freedom from like being damned to hell and all of that. But what I'm saying is they use the term spirit and energy kind of so in the same pocket. You could kind of look at it like that. So you could, because think about it. You don't they say you can have a bad spirit? Oh, he got the devil, they got the devil spirit. Matter of fact, wow, I've heard a couple of young people say that they're on devil time. Well, that's somebody who would say that they on that they got that devil spirit in them. They got bad spirit. Or you even might hear something misogynistic and say she got that Jezebel spirit in her. Damn. Excuse my language. But but you kind of see what I'm saying. So it can be used in so many different ways, to be honest with you.
But
It's
Again,
is there a way
it's
uh-huh.
that
an
you could
energy.
protect yourself from that bad energy?
Hmm?
Is there a way to? Because somebody asked me that. They start going around someone, and
Uh-huh.
now she said that seemed like she's doing the
She
same
got a
thing.
bad, she got some of that bad omen on her. She got some of that stank on
Cause
her.
she said seemed like she cannot shake it.
She can't shake it. You
So
know why? You know why, Sister Wendy? Because she's thinking about it. And
Right.
what you recognize is what you energize. So the best remedy I would say to repel and to get it off you, well, to repel to just have it not on you, period, is to take up some preventive measures like consulting into your ancestors that mean well for you in this life that you knew that loved you and said they loved you and hugged you hard and everything and confining them and ask them to be with you. And on the other side of that, that's the preventive side. And on the other side of that, if it's on you, to get it out of your thought process because what you think you become. So if she think that lady has some bad and she went home with it, boy, she'd be surprised. She might need to call that lady again because the other lady who had it bad on her might be sleeping well now because she done pushed it off on her now. I mean, so the best thing to do, honestly, is to stay on the righteous side of things, right? To prevent and ask every day. whoever you could find in. I'm hoping it's the ancestors, but anybody find strength in, whatever they find to, and whoever they're aligned with, to ask them to be with them and to repel those kind of things away from them when I go out into the world. And I'm gonna do my part by not being around them people. Because trust me, Sister Wendy, if I spent 5 minutes with somebody and I felt like they was in fed or chaos, what we like to say, some kind of problems, they'll never see me again, ever,
Yeah, that's true.
ever.
You know,
And I asked her, why would you just stay? You know, stay right there. When I feel uncomfortable, I leave.
Oh, I'm right. That's what you need to ask. Why would you sit there and listen and let her put that on you? Like she literally put it on. She going home skipping now. You trying to figure out what's wrong with you. No, no, no.
but you know, here's something too, and this is for the group, something that we've studied. Remember, metaphysically and physically, actually, you cannot stop thinking. If you don't believe me, sit down sometime and try to just stop thinking. What you're going to do is be thinking about stopping thinking. In other words, you cannot stop thinking. And I don't care if you got 10, 15 things going on, you may be, quote, multitasking. I mean, as a project manager, I had 32 projects going on in 3 states all at one time, all of them. But you can only think one thought at a time. Listen to what I'm saying. You can't stop thinking, but you can control what you think about, which is what you have the ability to do. So if you don't want something in your subconscious, it becomes your responsibility not to think about it. Because thinking is what? Vibration. What you think you feel. What you feel, you're going to vibrate it and you're going to attract it. We've been saying that every week.
Yeah.
Connect the dots, the pieces are there.
Yeah. Repetition is very good though, and that's why my dad always say every week the same thing.
Every week we say
Every
this.
week. I I give you a riddle that I always explain to myself too. Uh wow, I actually lost train of thought because I'm doing two things at one time. Um, but my dad is right. Oh, what I was thinking when he was saying that, the reason why a lot of people have problems with meditation is because for some reason people got a thought that you're supposed to. Well, we haven't actually seen techniques where they tell you need to clear your mind.
Mm, mm,
And my dad is absolutely right. The truth of it is, uh, you can't clear your mind. In a metaphysical way of looking at the story with Jesus and his 12 disciples, it's kind of like your mind. Your mind have many faculties, but it's up to 10 to 12 faculties that's very important in your mind. It's almost like you could kind of think of it like open drawers with the papers on. Your file cabinet is just out of order. When we think about Jesus with his 12 disciples, in a way, to not think of just people, remember when he went off for the 40 days and he told his disciples, he said, "Hey man, I need y'all to sit back and chill out. And by the way, not just chill out, but I need y'all to pray. Continue to pray while I go over here and go see what's going on." Remember, he was gone and the devil supposedly tempted him and this and that. But remember when he came back and them cats was asleep? The disciples were asleep. And he was mad about it. Hey, man, what's wrong with y'all, man? They coming to get me. What's wrong with y'all?
yeah.
What it is, right? His faculties was out of order. It's just like the human brain. When your faculties are out of order, you're out of order. Everything going on, so many things going on. I'm late for the work. The people are the boss making me mad. This and that. My girlfriend about to dump me. This and that. And you got too many things to where it's chaos in your mind. And meditation is there to help you get your faculties in order, like Jesus did. Hey man, wake up. They're coming to get me. How many swords do we have? We don't have enough? Sell everything you have because they coming to get me.
Yeah.
He was trying to get them in order. You kind of see, so that's what meditation is. My dad, absolutely right. You cannot do two things at one time. And it's impossible for you to clear your mind. Now, if you clear your mind, we got another problem.
Yeah.
Because you might need to see somebody about that. But it's something always going to be going in your mind. It's so it's your job. I always say this. This is the riddle I was saying. I always say, it's I have a responsibility. I have the ability to respond to my situation. Now it's up to me to know what my situation is. That is know thyself. It's nobody else's responsibility. That's my responsibility. The ability to respond, not react, to respond to my situation. But first you have to know what your situation is. And when you don't know what your situation is when that bad spirit get on you, Sister Wendy.
Yeah.
I got you.
And it's a good point. I mean, the time is gone now to move into next week, and let's get a closer look at meditation. Let's get a closer look at it because it's required. It's necessary. And the better you get at it, the more you practice, the better you get at it. And so we probably need to look at it a little bit closer because you cannot stop thinking. You cannot stop thinking. So we can move into that next week. It's good tonight. We did pretty good. We kind of, hopefully, everybody didn't speak up or say anything. Hopefully it was beneficial. People, sometimes it's hard to say a word or have a word come out the way you want to, but hopefully it's digestible, what we're saying tonight. Hopefully. And then next week, we can move into meditation and how ancestors even fit into your meditation and how the thoughts that I think it was Rosie was saying she used to have monkey mind as it were, and never will forget that. Mind all over the place, can't stop, can't calm down and get things done. Well, let's talk about it. Let's figure out what's going on there. It's a full-time job, and I'm responsible for me just like you're responsible for you.
So, Mr. Carl, will you be like just breaking it down, the meditation piece?
Let's talk.
Like some people said that like you're supposed to just be complete quietness.
Okay.
But I bought some tune parts and somebody told me that was all right too.
Yeah.
I'm new. I'm kind of new to this, so
That's why we probably need to talk about it. It's like you see people when they meditate and they'll be sitting and their hands and palms are turned up and they I got a picture of a guy, maybe I'll bring him next week. That is not required. Okay. You don't have to sit like that. Maybe you can sit like that. It don't mean you shouldn't be meditating.
And when you get good enough at it, you don't have to be in the quiet either.
There you go.
You could be in total chaos. Chaos could be around you, and you could be in your own world. When you get to that point, you're a master at it.
But
But
it's practice.
you could be going down in the plane going down, and everybody's screaming, and you the calmest one there. You're not even on the plane no more.
whew.
And remember,
It take a lot of practice.
and this all ties together, a good place to stop. If you're in a picture and there's 500 people in the picture, if you're in it, that picture is about you. I don't care if you're in the back row and you just see the top of your head. That picture's about you. To you, that picture is about you. Always. We'll get more into it next week. Let's do it. We're a little bit over now. I think we stay on time. We started a little bit late, but it's like 8:20. So I think we're okay with this. I think we're doing pretty good with this. Everybody kind of feel pretty good about where we are with the stuff we talked about tonight. Sort of, kind of.
Yes.
We're all students.
Yes.
We're all students. And so next week, let's go into meditation. Let's think about it. Bring stuff out. Let's talk about it. And if we don't have answers, we look stuff up. We don't have problems with that. And we can go from there. So let's see, what have I got here? I think I have to do this to go back to and then I have to do this. This is newfangled stuff here. There you go. And we have revised it. We're going to stick with this. We're going to do the prayer of protection. And we say together, the light of ancestors surround me. The love of ancestors enfold me. The power of ancestors protect me. The presence of ancestors watches over me. Wherever I am, ancestors are to you. Are never alone. Never alone. You know the deal. Uncle Johnson there, everybody. Uncle Johnson there.
Johnson.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Take
Good
care.
night. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay.
Do our family, do our. Thank you, thank you.
Wanataru.